Good evening, Raf Abiodun. Thank you very much for joining. Kindly share with your friends. We're about to start the evening session, and we'll be discussing handling the 5 P's of export business challenges, the paperwork. Handling the 5 P's of export business challenges, the paperwork. We started discussing this yesterday, and we highlighted 5 areas of challenges: product, pricing, purchasers, paperwork, and payment. We discussed product and pricing yesterday. This afternoon, we discussed purchasers. And this evening, we'll be talking about paperwork. And this series will end tomorrow when we start talking about payment. All right, we'll be starting right away. International trade is largely a business of documentation. This is due to the fact that the goods can be in transit for more than 2 months, but the documents give evidence of shipment and detail of goods. This in turn gives comfort to the buyer or the broker or the bank or the insurance and any other party involved in the transaction. Documentation is so vital in international trade and therefore could jeopardize the success of an export project if not properly done. For example, it can hinder the clearance of goods at either the port of loading or port of discharge. Under the of credit transaction, it can delay the payment if the document have some discrepancies. Adilo Ajayi, thank you very much for joining. Based on the nature of documents involved, they could be broadly categorized into commercial, financial, and regulatory documents. We are discussing handling the 5 P's of export business challenges, and this evening we are zeroing in on paperwork. Adolphus Ali, thank you very much for joining. The commercial documents are bill of lading if it's going by sea, airway bill if it's going by air, roadway bill if it's going by road. Then invoice and packing list together with the certificate of analysis. These are the commercial documents. The financial document basically is the bill of lading, so it's the bill of exchange or draft and or promissory note. And then regulatory documents vary from one country to the other. In Nigeria, for example, some of the regulatory documents will include NXP, NES, NAFDAC, MANCAP, health certificate, and the like. Stanley Iginoba, thank you very much for joining. Now, a new entrant in export business should answer the following question. Remember, for those of us that have been following this new series, what we've been discussing is the challenges. And the way we've been approaching it is creating questions around the challenges and using this avenue to answer those questions. So I attempt to answer those questions in the conversation we'll be having. And remember, the questions are the what, the where, the when, the who, the why, the which, and then the how. And remember, we are talking about documentation. So the first question is, what are the documents required in export process? What are the documents required in export process? Then where can the document be obtained? Where can the document be obtained? When are the documents supposed to be processed? When are the documents supposed to be processed? Who are the people that need the documents? Who are the people that need the document? Why are the documents necessary? Why are the documents necessary? which document are required, or which document is required for different category of products. And lastly, how does exporters prepare the document to be issued by his company? I will attempt to answer this question during this conversation. The first question says, what are the documents? What are the documents required in the export process? Adedamola, thank you very much for joining. Oluwaseun Isaac Adesina, thank you very much for joining. Let's share with our friends and colleagues who might be interested. We are discussing handling the 5 P's of export business challenges. And tonight we are looking at the paperwork. And the first question we need to answer as we have this conversation is, what are the documents required in the export process? It's very important we understand the fact that documentation is key in international trade. Why? Most likely a buyer will be paying for the good before he sees it. The regulatory agency also are not going to be at the port to see the goods. They are going to work with the document you are presenting to them. The basic document, the pre-export documentation and post-export documentation are the 2 documents we are going to be looking at. Pre-export documentation and post-export documentation. Now, the basic export document include a transport document. That's the post-export documentation, which is bill of lading. If my good is going by sea, airway bill if it's going by air, roadway bill if it's going by road. And this also we have the commercial invoice, which is basically showing how much I'm charging for the goods. Then the packing list, basically showing how the goods are arranged inside the container or in the cartons. The quality and quantity inspection certificate. Then the certificate of origin. Then the phytosanitary certificate. By the way, phytosanitary certificate is issued in Nigeria by Nigeria Agricultural Quarantine Service. NII. Marco, thank you very much for joining all the way from the UK. Phytosanitary certificate is issued by the Nigerian Agricultural Quarantine Service. Then the fumigation certificate is issued by the Federal Produce Inspection Service. The certificate of origin is issued by NACIMA, National Association of Chamber of Commerce, Industry, Mines, and Agriculture. Then I mentioned the quality and quantity inspection certificate that is to be issued by an inspection agent nominated by either the buyer or the exporter itself. Then packing list and invoice are to be prepared by the exporter, usually on the exporter's letterhead. Whereas the transport document, like the bill of lading, is to be issued by the carrier. If I'm shipping by sea, then the carrier is going to be a shipping line. If I'm shipping by air, the carrier is going to be an airline. If I'm shipping by road, the carrier is going to be a truck. Then also we have the NXP, which I'm going to pick up from my bank. If you're shipping out of Nigeria, NXP is picked up from the bank. It's a central bank form, but it's dispatched or disbursed, released to the exporter by the bank. Then we have the export certificate. It's also called the export license. That will be obtained from the Nigerian Export Promotion Council. By the way, this document from the Nigerian Export Promotion Council, you don't need to know anybody to get it. By visiting nepc.gov.ng, you can process it online. It costs just about $13.5 and it's valid for 2 years. Oladeko Kazim, thank you very much for joining. Ofure, thank you very much for joining. Okay, someone is asking a question. Okay, the poverty in our country will soon be reduced with people like you around sharing information about how people can start their own business. Nigerian youth stop following politicians and seek knowledge about how to better their life. I cannot agree with you less. I can't agree with you less, sincerely. I mean, the fact that people who just complain, really. You know, recently I was in a program and I was talking about the fact that the major importer in Nigeria are foreigners, the major exporter in Nigeria are foreigners. Now, the foreigners are living in an environment where things work. They come to Nigeria and they're able to thrive in Nigeria where things are not working. They grew up in an environment where things are working. But they came into Nigeria and thrive in Nigeria where things are not working. It's amazing. Because they came in with a primary objective to ensure they achieve their goal. So no complaint. If there's no light, they provide their light. No water, they provide their water. No road, they provide their road. They solve every problem on their way because they are here to make money and to better their life and to get the product across to their country or to bring in the product, come and sell here. So I agree with you, Prince, completely. The fact that we just must stop depending on politicians to help us, rather to take our destiny into our hands and find a way to solve the problem, because really a number of them really does not have our interests at heart. By the way, we'll be voting on Saturday. I don't want us to get into politics about who to vote or who not to vote. But what I think is very important is to keep engaging whoever wins on the need for them to do what is needful. So I'll get back to my conversation. NXP form, like I said, is obtained from the bank. Then the export certificate is to be obtained from the Nigeria Export Promotion Council. Like I said, you don't need to know anybody to get your export license in Nigeria. You don't need to know anybody. You don't need to know anybody. It's one of the few agencies in Nigeria that you can get your license without giving anybody any facilitation fee, otherwise called bribe. You process it online, fill the form online, pay the 13.5 online, upload the scanned copy of your registration document online, that's the certificate of incorporation and the like, because you need to be a limited liability company to process. And within a week, you can pick up your original in their office without knowing anybody. Without knowing anybody. Export certificate, then certificate of incorporation, then pro forma invoice, then payment of next fee. You know, when you're exporting in Nigeria, you don't pay export duty. When you're exporting in Nigeria, you don't pay VAT on the export proceeds when it comes in. When you're exporting in Nigeria, you don't pay company income tax on your profit as an exporter. When you're exporting in Nigeria, the bank that is funding your export is not going to pay tax on the interest he earned if he finances your export. When you're exporting in Nigeria, you have access to what is called the Export Expansion Grant. Isn't it amazing all the benefits that exporters have in Nigeria? So why are people not exporting? I think it's knowledge gap. I think it's the fact that it involves other countries and people believe there are so many issues or regulations around it. I think it's just knowledge gap issue. Someone was chatting me just before I came up about the fact that you mean I can export with 500,000? And I said, yes, you can export with 500,000. Just ensure you are exporting finished product, value-added product, that you can be sure of the quality of the item. And then we'll be discussing in the coming days on how to get buyers online. I've talked about it. I'll keep talking about different options available for you to be able to get buyers online. So you can actually be in your room. You can look for buyers online. You can actually do export business without necessarily setting up a factory and with minimal capital, and with minimal capital, and with minimal capital. Kindly note that all these documents, especially the certificates, are required for every export transaction. The second question says, where can the document be obtained? Now, I've taken a list of all the documents you need for export, both the pre-export document. What are the pre-export documents? The NXP I obtained from the bank, the pro forma invoice I prepare on my letterhead, the export certificate that I get from Nigeria Export Promotion Council, and the certificate of incorporation that I get from the Corporate Affairs Commission. And then the post-export, which include the bill of lading that I will pick up from my agent will pick it up from the port. The invoice, I'll prepare it on my letterhead. The parking list, I prepare it on my letterhead. The next fee, which I'm supposed to pay, I can pay that through about 10 banks in Nigeria will collect that from me. And all these are documents required for both pre, before I ship, post, after I've shipped my goods. The question then is, how do I obtain this document? The transport document, which is the document that evidence that the shipping line or the airline has collected the goods from you and the good is bound to be delivered to the destination, can be obtained from the shipping line, from the airline, through your agent. The exporter itself is the one that will issue the commercial invoice and the packing list. The exporter itself issues the commercial invoice and the packing list. The exporter also issues the pro forma invoice himself on his letterhead. The quality and quantity certificate are issued by the inspection agent appointed by buyer. Certificate of origin can be issued by the NACIMA, National Association of Chamber of Commerce, Industry, Mines and Agriculture. Phytosanitary certificate is issued by the Nigerian Agricultural Quarantine Service. Fumigation certificate is issued by the Federal Produce Inspection Service. NXP form can be obtained from the commercial bank. Export certificate is issued by the Nigerian Export Promotion Council. The certificate of incorporation is issued by the Corporate Affairs Commission. The next fee can be obtained from any commercial bank. About 10 commercial banks collect it on behalf of federal government. Single good declaration and custom endorsed NSC can be obtained from the Nigerian Customs Service. Clean certificate of inspection is issued by a government body appointed agent, and this include Cobalt, which is covering Southwest, Kamai ASEA, which is covering Northeast and which is covering South, Northeast, Northwest, and North Central, and Neroli Technology, which is covering Southeast and South-South. The next question says that when are the documents supposed to be processed? This can be very crucial. This is a very crucial question because if the documents are not processed at the correct period, rather, this could jeopardize the success of the export transaction. The document obtained and processed through the bank before the shipment are called the pre-export documentation, and this includes the NXPs, the export certificate, the certificate of incorporation, the pro forma invoice, and the payment of the NESS fee. NESS is NESS, Nigeria Export Supervision Scheme. That fee is 0.5% of the value of the goods plus my profit. Value of the goods plus my profit. The document processed and obtained after shipment are called the post-export documentations. These documents include, this document is divided into two parts. We have the shipping document, we have the exchange control document. The shipping document are the transport document like the bill of lading or airway bill, then the commercial document, which is like the commercial invoice, the packing list, quality and quantity inspection certificate, and certificate of origin, facility certificate, and fumigation certificate. And then the exchange control document are the clean certificate of inspection, single good declaration, and the NSP endorsed by custom. Please note that the nature of your document also influences the kind of document you will use. There are some basic documents, but out of some of the documents I've mentioned, some of them might not be required for your transaction, especially if you are doing finished product. For example, if you have doing finished product, you don't need Federal Produce to come and inspect the goods. You don't need Nigerian Agricultural Quarantine Service to come and inspect the goods because they only deal with commodities. The first question says that who are the people that need the document? The pre-export document need to be processed by exporter through the bank in order to clearly clear your good for export. The shipping document is needed by the buyer to show evidence of shipment and claim payment. And they are needed by, so the shipping document are needed by the seller to show that he has shipped the goods and claim payment, and they are needed by the buyer to meet the regulatory requirement required to clear the goods at the destination port. Finally, the exchange control documents are needed by the bank to confirm that export proceeds received by an exporter were based on legally exported items. Those documents, that's the exchange control document, which is the document that custom endorse and give back to you or to your agent, are to legally show that you have legally exported this item, and of course you are eligible for all the incentive that government are provided for exporters in Nigeria. The fifth question is a question of function, and it states that why are these documents necessary? Why are these documents necessary? Bill of lading in the hand of an exporter perform three major functions. Number one, evidence of receipt of goods by the shipping line, evidence of contract of carrier by the shipping line, and evidence of title to the goods by the importer. The commercial invoice have a number of functions, and this includes detail of the item being shipped, the amount that is expected to be paid. It also forms the basis for payment of duty, and it's also used to secure insurance. The packing list helps the exporter in the stuffing of the container. It helps the custom in examination of the goods being exported, and it helps the importer in calculating the unit item being exported and be able to in offloading the item from the container. Other documents like certificates help the importer to confirm the quality, the quantity, the origin, and other parameters required by the buyer for the goods. And then the sixth question, which is the second to the last question. And this is saying that which documents are required for different category of products. It's very important to note at this point that while pre-export documents and export control documents are constant for every shipping document, the pre-export documentation, which is processed with the bank, and the export control document are statutory requirements for export in Nigeria, especially if it is going through the seaport. Now, the shipping document vary from one product to the other. For example, agricultural produce like cocoa will require phytosanitary and fumigation certificates, but these are not needed for solid minerals. Processed food will require NAFDAC, but non-food will not require NAFDAC, but it will require MANCAP. Any manufactured goods that is not food or drug will require MANCAP. MANCAP is Mandatory Conformity Assessment Program. Mandatory Conformity Assessment Program. It's the opposite of SUNCAP for those that are interested, that know about SUNCAP for import. It is therefore important for exporter to investigate and know which of these documents applies to his product before commencing the export project. The last question, how does an exporter prepare document to be issued by his own company? The document to be issued by an exporter include the pro forma invoice, the commercial invoice, and the packing list. Pro forma invoice is the invoice issued before shipment. Commercial invoice is the invoice issued after shipment. There is another set of invoice called provisional invoice. Provisional invoice is the invoice issued before you get your final payment. Some buyer will not pay you at once. If it's commodity, they'll pay you in tranches. They'll pay you a percentage when you ship and pay you the balance when they ship the goods. The invoice you are issuing to them to pay you part payment after shipment is called provisional invoice. And the invoice you issue when the goods have arrived and they've seen it and they are paying you full and final payment is called the commercial invoice or the final invoice. The content of both pro forma and commercial invoice are very similar, and this includes the item being shipped, the unit price, the total quantity, the Incoterm, and another cost. The pro forma invoice is issued before shipment, while the commercial invoice is issued after the good has been shipped. The packing list contains the detail of the packing, the bags, the number of bags, the number of items in the bag, the cartons, the number of cartons, the number of items in the carton, the pallet, the number of pallets, the number of items attached to a pallet, the number of items inside each pack, the container number, unit weight, gross weight. All these are the details on the packing list. For sample of this document, you can actually get a copy of our book. That's the Export Business Made Easy. Get a copy of the book, Export Business Made Easy. You can see sample of all these documents clearly stated inside that book. On a final note, proper documentation are very critical to the success of an export transaction. The paperwork therefore requires detailed investigation and understanding in order to avoid all the challenges that may arise at both the port of loading and the port of discharge due to wrong documentation. One of the major challenges of typical export transaction in the world is documentation. There could be issue of documentation due to discrepancies on documents. These discrepancies can cause delays. That delay can cause demurrage, and that demurrage can lead to debt. Document issue can result into discrepancies. Discrepancies, especially in an LC transaction, can cause delays. Delays in export transaction can cause demurrage, and demurrage can lead to debt. What is a discrepancy? If the buyer have given an instruction on how the document is supposed to be captured, the details to be captured in the document, and you decide or you forgot and you didn't capture some of those details, that can constitute a discrepancy between the agreement reached on the letter of credit and the document presented by the exporter. When you have this discrepancy of document, it delays payment. Sometimes the buyer might say, look, I won't be able to use this document to clear these goods. You need to amend it. So the document has been sent to China. Sometimes might have to be sent back to Nigeria for it to be amended. And after amendment, then you send it back to the buyer again. In order to avoid the delay of sending document back and forth, that is why it's extremely important that you adhere strictly to the detail the buyer has requested on the document. If the buyer asks you for 5 documents, ensure you can get that 5 documents before you sign. If the buyer asks you for 4 documents, ensure you can get those 4 documents before you sign. If you cannot get those documents, then you can go ahead and sign that agreement. Because if you are not able to get those documents, that might cause delay in your payment afterwards. And that's extremely important that you understand the document required and you get this document across to the buyer. Now, there's another mistake that people make about documentation. Don't sign an export contract that require a document to be sent, document for which payment will be required, but that one of the documents you require to get your payment will be issued by the buyer. Is it not interesting? The buyer is the one paying. The buyer already agreed with you document that will be needed for him to clear the goods at destination. The buyer now states in the agreement that there is a document that he will need to sign and send to you before you will now dispatch that document to his bank for payment. The question, what if he doesn't send that document? And by this time you have shipped. What if he doesn't sign that document or send such document to you? In a letter of credit transaction, that kind of transaction is said to be unworkable, not workable. Why is it not workable? Because the destiny of that transaction is left in the hand of a buyer who is now becoming a judge in his own case. So as much as possible, in signing an agreement, any document the buyer is requesting for you to present for payment to be made, such document should be such that you can obtain it in your country. If you cannot obtain it in your country, in this case Nigeria, don't sign such document. Remember, documentation issue result in discrepancies. Discrepancies result in delays in clearing the goods. Delays result in demurrage. What's demurrage? Demurrage is the fee paid, typically by the importer, for the usage of container beyond the free period while the container is in the custody of the importer. That means, of the shipping line, The fee paid for the usage of container beyond the free period while the container is in the custody of the importer of the shipping line. How am I making this mistake? Demurrage is the fee paid for the usage of container beyond the free period while the container is in the custody of the shipping line. So if I have issue with discrepancy, when the buyer will be unable to clear the goods, the container will remain with the shipping line, and the shipping line will be charging extra fee every day that container is staying extra days in his custody with the goods of the importer inside. So the importer is already incurring losses before he even clear the goods because of the issue we have with your documentation. All right, thank you very much for listening again today. My name remains Dele Ayemibo, and tomorrow morning we'll continue by 8 a.m. and we'll be discussing Handling the 5P of export business challenges, the payment issues. Handling the 5P of export business challenges, the payment issue. Thank you very much and have a good evening.